When we broke the big story on March 13, 2001, the story on corruption in defense procurements, it led to the resignation of the Defense Minister of India. It led to the resignation of the President of the ruling party. It led to the cashiering of many generals. But what happened was the state, the government, then attacked us very, very viciously. It lodged false cases against us. Some of my colleagues had to go to jail. Our financiers were attacked. And slowly, all our work was shut down. So we went down from an office of 124 people to just 4 people. The Indian press is very free. We are a very great democracy in many ways. But I don't think the Indian press does as much as it should do, because there are many deep issues in India today of inequality, of injustice, which need to be addressed by the media. There are the stories of the poor. You have to understand, India is a very large country, 1 billion, 200 million people. 200 million people are doing well, people of my class. But there are 700-800 million people in India who still live at very distressing levels of poverty, sub-Saharan levels of poverty, illiteracy, lack of food. I mean, these are stories that Indian media does not do enough to cover. And that is what at Tehelka we try and do. Well, India is easily the most complex country in the world. I mean, as I told you, it has the second largest population, 1 billion, 200 million people. The second largest population of Muslims, about 170 million Muslims. At the same time, we have dozens of languages, castes, ethnicities. It is a very complex country, and today I believe that we are going through a very difficult time in trying to reconcile the differences and the differing aspirations. And in this, what is crucial and what holds India together is the vision of the founding fathers. The founding fathers of India, which is Mahatma Gandhi, Jawaharlal Nehru, and all the great men and women who surrounded them. The founding fathers had a very great vision, and it's the great vision of tolerance, of liberalism, of building bridges. That's what is still holding India together. But we are facing a very difficult time, and as a journalist in Tehelka, that's what I try and address, that's what we try and cover. As a novelist in my books, that's what I try and explore. Well, one of the biggest challenges facing India today is that at the heart of India, there is a big Maoist rebellion going on. And this is happening in a belt which is a forest belt, a tribal belt. Tehelka for the last 2 years has done the most amount of sustained coverage of this issue in India. Our editors, our journalists have been going down to the ground, to the forests every week to cover the issue. Urban India wants to see this issue as an issue of insurrection which should be crushed by military power. But Tehelka's opinion is that we should have, the Indian state should have a much more humane and enlightened approach to the problem. We believe that the problem is one of poverty, the problem is of destitution, the problem is of lack of development, and we feel that the Indian state should be trying to actually educate the poor, it should be trying to help the poor, so that the attraction of the ideology of Maoists is lessened. It's a big challenge, and in the coming years, I think we are going to see a big struggle between the have-nots, those who have been cut out of the great superpower India, who have taken to the gun, and those who, like me, my class of people, who have actually cornered all the resources of India and want to now keep cornering them. The important thing to understand about India is that everything you say about India, the opposite is also true. So we have the richest people in the world, we have the poorest people in the world, we have some of the most brilliant people in the world, we have the most illiterate people in the world. We are supposedly a country that believes in non-violence, but we are also the most violent country in the world. So it's never easy to sum up India in one sentence or in one book. So in many ways, everything that is written about India could partially be true. The thing to remember always is that India is a very old civilization. I mean, it's been a civilization that was fully developed for more than 5,000 years. So its roots in antiquity are very strong. Its old literature, its old philosophies, its old sciences are very, very old. And what is happening now is that a lot of these are being now discovered and taken up by everybody in the world. And typically, these things happen when a country begins to achieve, or when a society begins to achieve economic power. Today, India has economic power, growing economic power. So everything about India is beginning to attract the world. Indian cuisine, Indian fashion, Indian yoga, Indian spirituality, Indian writing, Indian cinema. You know, earlier it was China. You know, so China became, as China became economically powerful, everything about China became interesting. Chinese art, Chinese food, Chinese cinema. You know, and earlier it was America. Before America it was England. Before England it was France. So it really, in some sense, has to do with the commercial dominance, the economic dominance of a civilization. Whenever a culture becomes economically dominant, its arts and culture, they also become equally dominant. The truth is, India has always been very rich culturally. It's becoming important globally because we are becoming economically powerful. You know, it's like I once told an Italian journalist that Italians have to understand that the most powerful Italian in the world lives in India. Sonia Gandhi is the most powerful Italian in the world, let me tell you that. But Sonia Gandhi herself sees herself as an Indian. You know, she is today India's most powerful politician. I think she's a remarkable woman. I think in the last 10 years, for me personally, she has been the defining political figure in India. And I think she's done an incredible job of acquiring Indianness and becoming an Indian. Today, she wants to see herself only as an Indian. She sees herself as an Indian. She does not like to be identified as an Italian. And there are reasons for that. And the reasons are political, not spiritual or social or emotional. Because politically, for many years, Sonia Gandhi was attacked by her opponents for being an Italian and not an Indian. So it's very important for her in the public to be always seen. If you notice, she always wears a sari. She's always in a sari. She never ever says or does anything that would suggest that she's not an Indian. So that is the reason really, is that politically she has been attacked in the past very, very viciously for not being a natural born Indian. But today I think her heart beats for India, and I think she believes and wishes to works for the overall benefit of India much more than a lot of Indian politicians. I have a lot of admiration for her.